Hello, hello, you beautiful souls. I was talking to a client earlier today, and she was just feeling really kind of disempowered without really realizing that that's what it was. And she was talking about how her manifestations had just been just really discombobbled, right? And I want to remind you guys and kind of share what we talked about in that conversation, because I feel like it can be really helpful to do so, because a lot of times the conversations, the themes kind of, they translate over to the Soulpreneur Life Collective and the family. What we listen to, what we read, what we talk about with our besties and our families and our chats and all of that, they can influence and sway what is showing up in our day-to-day, right? And when things are going our way, that can be perfectly fine, right? That can be absolutely beautiful. But when things are going wonky and we're trying to scramble, right, and we're trying to pick up sand with our hands or with a sieve, right, that can be something that we're kind of blind to, and that we need to remember to check in with. What are we listening to? What conversations are we having? What language are we using in our day-to-day? Because those things, they matter. There are building blocks. They fuel how we feel. They fuel how our subconscious mind speaks to our conscious mind, right? How often do you use music to feel better? How often does a song make you want to cry, right? You can use music to manifest, whether that is through tears, through rage, through joy, through healing, right? Sometimes people think that everything we do has to be through joy, but sometimes healing comes through tears. Sometimes healing comes through rage. Sometimes healing comes through that next the most easy, accessible emotion. So what is that for you, right? When I was going through like the depths of my depression, someone telling me, just be happy, that would have pissed me off. I didn't want to hear that, right? Like, that's going from depressed to happy. That's not realistic. Going from depressed to neutral, okay, maybe I could do that. Going from where I was depressed to calm, maybe I could do that, right? Maybe that was attainable for that day. So what is attainable for you? And if you are happy, okay, what's the next step for you? Or if you are feeling calm, what's the next step for you? Or if you are feeling whatever, what's the next step for you, right? And then really empower yourself. Okay, what conversations am I having? Am I speaking negatively? Am I speaking in absolutes with my language? And am I including everyone? Am I speaking life and death over people with my language? Because sometimes people, they don't realize it, but they're using language that includes everyone, right? Sometimes people, they do this with me too, and I'm like, I redirect them with their language gently, and I tell them, oh, that's for you, thank you for thinking of me, but that's not for me, right? Like, I don't claim that. They don't necessarily mean harm. They've become lazy with their language, and so they don't understand what they're saying. And so it's our job to pay attention to how we speak life into our dreams, how we speak life into how we're feeling, what we're creating in our life, in our families, in our relationships. And if something's misaligned, don't breathe life into it. Don't talk about it. Don't allow that thing to pull energy, right? We get to choose to spend our energy like money. So spend your money of energy, right? The currency of energy in places where it makes sense, when you are reorganizing and restructuring, and restructuring how it needs to be distributed. And the easiest thing for most people is to look at, okay, maybe turn off the news, maybe restructure your social media feed, maybe pause some of the group chats just for a little bit to kind of reevaluate, am I trauma dumping? Are my friends trauma dumping? did I ask before I trauma dumped, right? Something that you guys have heard me share before, if you've been with me long enough, was a huge shift that I made was, oh, you might hear the airplanes. I live by the Air Force Base. I live by the Air Force Base and they're running drills. But one of the big shifts that I made was with my language. You guys know I'm obsessed and I love the language and words and the meaning, but was I quit sharing my story with everyone who asked when I was going through my divorce, right? Because everyone wanted to know everything, and I kind of felt obligated to share it when people were asking, but it was so taxing on me. I felt drained. I didn't feel rejuvenated at the end. I felt exhausted, right? And then I started asking, why do you want to know? And I didn't ask politely in the beginning because I didn't have the tact. I was so burnt out and on fumes. I eventually figured out how to ask more politely and kind of redirect in more polite ways. And really, after discovering like these conversations, they don't fuel me. They don't leave me feeling the way I want to feel at the end. And then the person on the other end of the conversation, they don't provide feedback that is helpful when I'm done draining myself, right? They don't give me anything to help the situation or to help me as a person with my development, to evolve, to grow, to heal, to be better. Most of the time it's, oh, that sucks. I'm so sorry that you went through that. After I've just poured my heart out answering their 21 questions. And it's like, why did I just do that? It doesn't feel any better. It doesn't feel good. Now they have all the gossip to go talk about me with their partner, their husband, whomever, when they go lay down at night. But I don't feel any better. I'm not any closer to healing or what I need. So let me pour all that energy back into me, right? It's important that we understand where we are spilling our energy and pouring it back into ourselves, into our where we need it, right? So observe, are you doing those things? When I made those small changes, which were big changes, life-giving changes, huge things happened for me in my healing, for my daughter, for our relationship, for things that really needed to evolve and change, right? And then the language, music, manifestation happens through music too. I've always been really particular with how I say certain things, but there's certain music with certain lines that I don't say out loud because I've always known if I say certain things out loud, whether it's self-fulfilling prophecy or just the power of breathing life into certain sentences, it happens, right? So pay attention to the music and the lyrics that you're singing. Do they bring you joy, and do they make sense for you to sing? Right? If you're trying to bring positivity and love and joy and creativity into your space, are the lyrics that you're singing, do they make sense that you're singing them right now? I'm just asking questions. I'm not judging, right? I love spoken word poetry too. That's another creative outlet that I love to hear. And a lot of times spoken word poetry has music on the background, right? Alicia Harris, I love her, and JP Cooper. They often play together, and like those two together is so, there's just something so beautiful about it. So stepping into your power and allowing yourself to kind of reflect, okay, does it make sense? Am I doing these things? How am I talking? What am I listening to? What am I watching to? Am I cleansing my feed? Am I doing these things? Are the people around me in alignment? Do I need to take a pause? Do I need to take a break? And holding ourselves accountable, because sometimes we have to hold ourselves accountable before the world around us, before our friends, before our family members, before we start blaming whatever. First and foremost, we have to hold ourselves accountable, right? And after we do all of these check-ins, then we can move outwards, right? So I just really, the conversation I had earlier today, it reminded me that, you know, a lot of us move in and out of this cycle often. It's normal, it's natural, we're human, right? We're souls having a human experience, and so it's natural to ebb and flow out of this more than once in life, in our experience. And so I wanted to share this, and if you're going through this season again, just know that you're not alone. It's fine. It's natural. And you know, I have the 21-day manifestation download. If you want to access that as well, it will walk you through a process. So, ooh, I wish a dandelion. Look at that. That's good luck. But it'll walk you through your own 21-day journey of what it can look like for you to find your own manifestation process too. Right? It's on the Soulpreneur Life Academy portal. So if you go to the main website, soulpreneurlifellc.com, and you do the drop down, if you do the Soulpreneur Life Academy, you'll see the 21-day manifestation option for the download on there. It's free. It's my gift to you. And just download it, follow the instructions, and do all the things. I'll have the link somewhere directly on here, so it should be easy to get to. But step into your power and take control of the things that are directly in your, you know, your circle for you to take control of, and work your way outwards. There are so many things that once we start taking, we stop looking outward and we start looking inward, right? And we start taking control of what is in our direct sight, right? In our direct control, for us to say, hey, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Let me go ahead and clean this up. Let me go ahead and straighten this out. Let me get my ducks in a row. Everything else will become clear. Everything else will straighten up, and we can begin to realign, stand in our power, get clear, and feel, you know, energized, doing the things that feel like us, that feel authentically like us, so that everything else becomes background noise. And then everything that is supposed to be for you, it won't miss you. And the things that are finding you are aligned with who you are as you are showing up, right? Because if the things that are finding you don't feel like you, it's because how you're showing up, it's not, I mean, you're showing up as something, right? But what's showing up in the reflection back to you, it's outdated. So it's time to kind of shed some of those things. And it's okay to shed those things. It's okay to grow. We're living, we're breathing, we're growing just like a tree, right? Sometimes we shed our leaves. So that's the season. Go ahead and shed them. So I'm sending you a lot of love, a lot of appreciation. Download the PDF. It's free. It can't hurt. Check it out. Do some of the things. See how it feels. I'm sending you guys a lot of love. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Comment below if this resonated with you all. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.